Hi everyone, welcome back to the Little O Nutrition YouTube channel and welcome to another installment of the Monday Moan. Today what I want to moan about is BMI. So listen, I know I've talked about BMI other places before, but I've never actually done a moan about it. And I didn't expect that. I thought I would have done one by now. So let's do one. Let's get it out of the way. So first of all, let's have a word about what BMI is. So BMI stands for Body Mass Index, and it's basically a calculation that plots someone's weight versus their height to calculate the mass of that body, as in, you know, how much it is. And it's been around for a really long time now. I think, if I'm correct, it was actually invented, because it was invented out of thin air, in the 1800s, late 1800s in America. And actually, the guy who invented it, let's do a little poll. I'm really interested to know who you guys think would have been the brains of the operation behind BMI. And so just spend a sec now thinking, what type of person do you think invented it? It was definitely a dude, just FYI, because, you know, 1800s, women did not have jobs. Anywho, think about it. Pause this if you have to, because I'm about to say what it is right now. So the dude who invented BMI and the BMI calculation and the BMI scale was a statistician, a maths man, who at the time he created the body mass index scale and equation was working for an insurance company. It gets better. Crazy, right? Like, that should be a major red flag. And when I found that out, I was actually like, no, it can't be true. It can't be true. Doctors use the BMI scale. But it's true from what I can find out. And it's really scary because you would think when we're using something that's so heavily ingrained in our healthcare systems and in how we see our own health, that would be based on science. It would be based on scientific interpretation, scientific research. It would at least be based on the experience and expertise of healthcare professionals, but nah, it ain't. So that's a major issue, okay? But it's not just that, right? Another fact I'm going to give you here that's going to make you question the validity of BMI as a tool for measuring health is this. A while back, they decided to change the scale so that literally overnight, millions of people went from being normal in the BMI categories to being overweight, and millions more went from being overweight to being obese because they literally just overnight changed the scale. So even the scale that we're using now, that was developed by this statistician way back when, is actually different because we decided the cutoffs need to be different. And I think actually that reflects more of an issue in our body ideals now, because back in the 1800s, carrying extra weight was actually super cool. People who had some fat on their bodies were wealthy. They were well-to-do. They had enough money for food. Nowadays, people who are carrying extra fat are massively stigmatized against, and we have this created kind of a caricature of the fat body as someone who's fat, lazy, gluttonous, unmotivated and unwilling to get up off their couch, which is obviously completely not true, but that's potentially one of the reasons they changed the scale. And just those facts should be enough to put you off considering BMI when you know, interpret your own self-worth and your own health and your own value as a human being. But more than that, your BMI doesn't tell us a whole lot about you or your health, right? So BMI, like I said, it's about the mass of your body, but it's not a clever equation because it can't tell us anything about the breakdown of that mass. It can't tell us the density of your bones, the amount of muscle mass you have, the amount of fat mass you have, how much water weight you're carrying, how much food is in your digestive system, how much your brain weighs, you know, all these other things. And so we often look at BMI and think, oh, well, I must be really fat if I'm high on the BMI scale. Not true. You could be very muscular and be high on the BMI scale. So it's not, you know, I mean, someone could measure as overweight or obese and be a bodybuilder, you know what I'm saying? And also, I suppose something else that's really important to consider is that actually being underweight on the BMI scale is considered to be riskier for health than being overweight on the BMI scale. So, I mean, what does that tell you about it as well? We're so focused on not being fat that we sometimes forget that actually being really low weight is worse for our health in the long term. And then more than that, you know, there's so many issues with it because, you know, it can't tell us anything about what's going on inside your body. Like I'm saying, it's just telling us mass, which doesn't really tell us anything at all. It can't tell us like your blood glucose, your triglycerides, your cholesterol, how healthy your diet is, how frequent your bowel movements are, how well you're sleeping, how in control your stress levels are. It can't tell us anything really about your health. So that's all I really want to say on BMI. I mean, look, people take BMI because it's easy. It's easy to take BMI because it is just weight and height, and actually we have machines now that will weigh and estimate your height and calculate your BMI, so people don't even have to do the calculation like they had to do even, you know, 5-10 years ago. So it's a lazy way of healthcare providers being able to say, I did a thing to check their health and I can tick this box now, that box is checked, I've done my job, I can show whoever is funding it, the government or the patients or whatever, that I really care and I'm doing my job good, even though it doesn't. So we always want these easy check boxes. And that's all they're doing. When people take your BMI, when you go to a healthcare setting, all they're doing, or the only reason that they're doing that and taking your BMI is so that they can tick on a piece of paper or on a computer screen that they took your BMI, that they're measuring things. Because it's all well and good to say, oh yeah, but we took 10,000 BMIs last year. That sounds really good when you're putting it in a report and when you're pitching for funding or whatever, but actually if you think about it, it doesn't say anything about how you impacted the health of the country. So there you have it. I'm not a fan of BMI. I'll put the link to the blog I wrote on BMI a while back in this here box below. If you like my moans and my rants, please hit the subscribe button and tell your friends all about the Monday Moan, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.